Welcome to F Major Added Second Chord. I'm Miles White. I'm in the middle of exams right now, so rather than, try and come up with something, a bit of whatever, I'm just gonna do another review. I know I did a review last week. Next week I won't do a review. Week after, probably not also, unless I do. Excuse me. But, siren again. Instead of doing, coming up with a review and doing a recent record, I have to listen to it over and over again and come up with opinions. I'm just going to talk about a record I already have opinions about. This is a record I've known for about a year, actually. This is the Rightful Pivot by Enablers. I discovered it last year during exams, and it helped get me through exams, and it's probably going to help me get through these exams. Enablers, not The Enablers. There's a separate band called The Enablers. This is not that. Enablers is from San Francisco, and they're an interesting quartet, an interesting post-rock quartet. They have a drummer, of course, Sam Ospavat at the battery for this record. They have two guitarists, Joe Goldring and Kevin Robert Thompson. They don't have a bassist. That's not the weird thing. A lot of bands these days don't have bassists. But their vocalist, I don't know if it's Pete Simonelli or Simonelli, I'm going to say Simonelli, is not a singer. He's a spoken word poet. It's better than it sounds, believes me. Because, I say spoken word poet, I don't mean he's this needly guy who, he's got this reedy voice and he talks about the dark night of the soul, in this halting cadence. He doesn't interrupt the music. He weighs it down. His voice is very deep, very resonant, and his lyrics have a darkness to them, a gravity. Gravity is a good word for what Pete Simonelli has and what he brings. Because, it's very, not macho music. I say masculine in the sense of there's a strength and there's a restraint, But not machismo manliness, not sort of sensitive manliness, but not sensitive to the point of, sentimentality. There's a stoicness there. So much of the lyrics involve, sort of these missed emotional connections and these undercurrents and overcurrents of violence and these uncertainties. Oh, there's so much uncertainty. And the lyrics, rather than being, not the lyrics, the music, because so much post-rock, there's so many different directions, as I've said. And these guys, they everything is in waves, everything is in swells and rises and falls. The phrases musically are very fluid, and they flow into and out of one another. They're these musical currents. In the Do Make Say Think review, I talked about how there are these movements and there are these themes. Enablers doesn't really do that. They don't have these themes that they take and they give away. Things evolve more organically. They swell more organically. Things feel at times not composed so much as grown. Look, it's a 10-minute song. It's the one 10-minute song. The songs are for Enablers makes relatively short post-rock songs, all things considered. It starts off, slow and mournful, and there are these, these strange alien guitar sounds. The attack is all wrong. And slowly, as Simonelli paints this picture of this memory, the guitars slowly come together. They come together, and the drums is sort of dum-da-dum. There's these tom rolls and these tom waves that just sort of come up slowly. And these cymbals that accent the beat just so. Until eventually, and I don't even realize half the time, I don't realize the song is getting louder until it is already loud. I don't realize, because I am just caught up in the moment. Usually with a lot of post-rock, I was like, yes, the song is ramping up. It's this, there's this. But no, Look is a rare song that I get lost in. She Calls Out to You, the second track on the record, is also sort of like that, but less so. And then, of course, there are the more muscular songs in the record, the less growy ones and the more, like walls almost. There's Went Right with its persistent unease. It's always just so tense and it explodes. And again, there's a narrative. Narrative's tense, and eventually it all just goes to a head and it all hits the fan, and you're running, and that's when the music is at its loudest, when you're running away. And there's the percentages, which is lean and mean, and there's Solo, which is my favorite song on the record, which starts off strong, and there's this bombastic riff, and it's just harsh and distorted, and then it falls away. There's just silence. And then when the riff that comes in after is not as distorted. It's cleaner, it's chimier, and just sweeps in. It's fluid, it flows in. And at this point, Simonelli, sometimes he drives the songs, but Simonelli rides the instrumental of Solo. And it's perfect. She could be rising again, padding barefoot to a room like that. And the guitars just sort of descend as he says rising. And you could see as she pads through the room on tiptoe and closes the door just like that. And then, of course, there's another explosion of guitar, but it's not quite as extreme. It's mysterious. It's a very mysterious record. There's a lot that goes unsaid in the lyrics, and the way the melodies and the harmonies rise and fall and rise and fall, you feel not like you've missed something, not like something has passed you by, but as if something has been through where you are. You get caught up in a certain longing, a certain kind of memory, a certain kind of nostalgia. And eventually it drops you off the end of Avenopolis. And you're like, oh. I guess the record's over. And it's satisfying. It's a very satisfying record. It's sequenced well. It sounds good. There's great sounds on it. Of course, the drums are... I love the drums. And the guitars are great too. The distortions are solid. There's good effects. I've already mentioned the sort of alien swells throughout Look. There's this octave sound that comes up a lot. This pinging, this shimmering high octave that offsets well against Simonelli's voice. It's their fifth record. They've been doing this for a long time. And the Rightful Pivot is very much the sound of a band that has found its lane, that is doing its business, doing what it does best. Strong A for this one. This is one of my favorite records of 2015, one of the best records I found last year. It's solid. I've been listening to it this whole time. Anyway, I gotta get back to work, so nice hanging out with you guys for a minute.